how to do these days, right?
I know. I thought we were through it. It resurfaced. We're back in 2020, 21, but we'll get through it. It's been okay. We'll get there.
Well, first of all, let me ask you for your family and also your Cougar family, how are the holidays? How was Christmas and New Year's?
It was great, and ended up, we're preparing for UW, so it was a little stressful there. And then when we got, had to go through that, but then ended up being kind of, I would like to suggest to the NCAA that we shouldn't be able to schedule a game between December 23rd and January 1st. It would be a nice break, but because you're always stressed, scrambled, your players are coming in and out, especially here when it's cold climate, and you're just worried about travel, and guys get like 3 days. I'm like, do we need, it'd be nice if we started after that, but we'll see. We'll see if they take my recommendation.
Well, I'm sure they're listening to this show right now.
Absolutely.
So I assume players got to go home at least for a little bit, but they had to come back early because you thought you were playing UW.
No. We had some stayed around, some went home, and that's a hustle, and there's a little stress, and we got everyone back. We had a little delay there with the weather on the 26th, but everyone kind of got back by the 27th, and we felt like we were in good shape, but some things like just having every program in that, and we've had to punt that game. Hopefully we'll play them the same week when we go there. That'll be like a big Apple Cup week. We'll play them here. Hopefully play them here Wednesday and play over there on a Saturday, and it'll be good.
Yeah, that would be fun. How was this in the Smith family household? How was Christmas for you guys?
It was great. Still my guys are 8, 11, and 13, so Christmas is a big day and a lot of gifts, a lot of stuff. And I even got a few this year, which is an upset. So it was great. Family's good. It's good to be, as you get older and your kids get older, you realize that they're only going to be 8, 11, 13 once, and trying to sit back and enjoy that stuff we're in the middle of the season. But I think I'm finally settling here in my mid-50s.
Now,
starting to get it.
When you're a kid of your kids' ages, there's, either you're looking for that big present, maybe that they're all going to share, or they're all looking for a bigger one of their own. What were some of the bigger gifts for the Smith family?
We got an Xbox or something, one of those things. It's something I protest against our guys having, but there's a softer member in our family that's kind and indulges some of the kids. So I've lost Rocco to the upstairs TV and Xbox, a lot of Madden. He's drafted his own team, the whole deal. I can't even play with him anymore. He doesn't let me. So that was the big gift. And then Luke, the youngest one, just kind of watches. He lets him watch. That's our poor guy. Poor Luke can't play. Rocco just hogs it. Plays against the computer. And Luke gets to be a spectator, and Bo's bouncing a basketball in the background. So we a lot of activity. 3 boys, a lot of stuff going on.
See, we lucked out and were able to snag a PS5 last Christmas. So this Christmas we got Madden, NBA 2K, were some of the big ones. And then my older son wanted a Ja Morant jersey, so he got that. And the younger one wanted a KD jersey. So those were the most.
Which one's my son's age?
That's my older one, Dylan.
The older one, yeah, okay, yeah. We're in the same age group. We're right here.
Yep.
Same stuff.
Hey, so we were talking earlier just about that game against UW getting canceled due to COVID issues, and we're seeing it not only across the conference but across college basketball. This is difficult for teams to deal with all over the place.
No doubt, and it's that stress of knowing whether you're going to play or not, and it's affected our players. I think players across the country, and it's important, do mental health checks and wellness checks, and especially. We're isolated right now because there's not other students around campus, so you're just kind of the basketball thing, and then wanting to have that game, and when it gets moved, that changes things, and we got to try to keep it fresh and try to reinvent some things in practice while at the same time work on our fundamentals. And you don't always have everyone there every day of practice, but we're making the most of it. We're just got to remind them, be appreciative of this opportunity, and remind ourselves that we're in college, we're playing basketball. It's a pretty good deal. All
right. It has been a long time since the Cougs have actually taken the floor for a basketball game. Yeah, coming up after the timeout, we will look back at that last non-conference game against Boise State, and we'll start to look ahead to the Pac-12 slate, which really you dive into in earnest here this week against the mountain schools in Colorado and Utah. We'll get into that with Coach Smith when we return. This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show from Learfield.
When you set up a savings goal with US Bank, it grows with you. There's no limit to what you can crochet. Can do. Doesn't have to be crocheting, but it totally could be. Like the headphones you're listening to this ad with, you could totally crochet those. There's no telling where your savings goal will take you. Maybe you'll save enough for yarn to crochet your house or the whole town. Oh, right. Doesn't have to be crochet related.
Set up savings goals on the US Bank mobile app, even for the wildest of dreams. US Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hey, Coug fans! Can't decide what to do with your late-night weekends? Why not Cosmic Bowling? Every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Cosmic Bowling at Zeppo's. At a price designed with everyone in mind, we are your destination for music, disco lights, and of course, bowling. Can't join us on the weekends? Zeppo's is the place to be for all ages every day of the week. With bowling, food, and drink specials, we offer prices that won't break the budget. You can even reserve your lane in advance with online reservations at Zeppos.com. When looking for fun in Pullman, look no further than Zeppo's.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Woo! Got my nachos, got my big TV, and my favorite chair. It's game time. But the only thing that would make it a little better is if I could listen to my local broadcasters while watching the game.
Hello. You must have wished for your game to be synced with TV and radio.
I sure did.
Do you have a DVR?
You bet.
Do you have a streaming device?
Yeah.
Blammo! Your game is now synced. It's that easy.
Oh, boy.
To see if you can get synced, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield.
Syncmygame.com?
Syncmygame.com.
Spokane International Airport is a proud sponsor of Washington State University Athletics. The airport connects Cougar fans and alums to 22 nonstop destinations provided by 8 major airlines. Nonstop service is available to Atlanta, Boise, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Everett, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Oakland, Orange County, Phoenix, Phoenix Mesa, Portland, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, and Seattle. And starting December 15th, Reno. For real-time flight arrival and departure information, go to SpokaneAirports.net.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield. Put your trust in a bank that's been focused on serving the people and businesses in Washington and all across the country since 1863. That's U.S. Bank, equal housing lender, member FDIC. With Coach Smith, here's Matt Chazanow.
Welcome back to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show. Derek Dice filling in for Matt Chazanow here tonight on the first show of the 2021-2022 season, and the non-conference slate is over. The Cougs jumping into Pac-12 play in earnest as they take on the Colorado Buffaloes on Thursday night in Boulder, and then the Runnin' Utes of Utah in Salt Lake City on Saturday afternoon. But, Coach, let's go back before we go forward, and we'll talk about how you finished out the non-conference slate. And it's not what you wanted. You're playing some teams that are very good in each of their respective conferences. I'm talking about teams like New Mexico State, South Dakota State, Boise State, and these were all close, competitive ball games, but they didn't go your way. What went wrong in your eyes, and what good did you take from those?
It's we ended up 8-5 non-conference, and there's a lot of ways to look at. Or I guess not. We had 2 conference games in there too. So. But the good things is you can look at 2 ways. Like we've led, I think in those 5 losses, we led about 80% of the game. And if you're a half-empty guy, you're going to be like, oh, how did you give those games away? And what were you doing? If you're half full, like I'd rather be on the lead, being controlling the game, and learn how to close those out. That's a better place to work from. And I still think we have some youth inside, and definitely we feel like we've left some on the table. I mean. Those tight games, we get a stop against SC, even though that was a conference game. I think we got a good chance to win that. South Dakota State, we're in good shape there, et cetera. It's gone on. So we need to keep moving forward. We work on situations every game, we've got the starters have gotten 2 wins the last 2 days in practice, and it wasn't easy. We were trying to get stops. We couldn't get a stop either time, but we had to come down and hit 2 game winners. So maybe that will get some confidence there. So, but we've been good defensively. We've been a really good offensive rebounding team, and we've done a better job of taking care of the ball. We're a better offensive team than we were last year. We've had some big highs and real lows. We need to steady that out a little bit offensively and hopefully some of the new guys are getting more comfortable, and we'll play with a little more purpose there. But and then we've got to do a better job defensive rebounding, which is disappointing because usually teams we've coached have usually been better there, and that's usually rock solid piece of defense. The most important part, you got to finish the play, and when people miss, you get it off the glass. And the fact that we're so good defensively without doing that piece means there's some definitely room to grow there to even get better defensively.
Yeah, no doubt. I think I'm sure frustrating for you is you go through these lulls on offense, right? It seems like your offense is clicking along, and then all of a sudden it's been 4.5 minutes and you haven't scored. If you knew, I guess you'd fix it, but what's going on with the offense there?
No, I think just getting, usually your team usually identifies who are triangle of players, or who your three guys getting most shots. And like our first year was pretty obvious. It was going to be Isaac, CJ, and even Noah's a freshman to a degree. And maybe we only had 2 that year, to be honest. and this year it's been difficult because we'd like to establish ourselves on the inside. And really, FA's been battling. He only practices about every other day, managing his knee stuff. And so it's hard for him to get consistent. And, this is something he's going to have to manage throughout. And he's getting better, getting comfortable there. And then Deshaun has had some bad luck with he had a hurt thumb that kept him out. Some ligament thing in there that's gotten better. He's had to have it taped up, and then he had to miss some practice time. So we've those two, and like establish that inside presence when you're in a slump and you're not, and people you're not making shots, or we're pretty perimeter oriented with our leading scorers. So we've got to develop that more. That's on me a little bit. We got to do that. Be committed to putting the ball on the side, but it's hard. We haven't had those guys at practice and develop that piece to our puzzle. And if we can get that going, because Deshaun was really good for us late in the year in conference, and FA was pretty good all throughout. Muhammad's been the one that's kind of he's a freshman. We weren't expecting him to do this much, but he's been healthy. He's been consistent. He's been doing that, and he's really good defensively. He's a good rebounder, and he's starting to grow offensively. So that would help too. Those 3 guys are good young talents, and we've got to utilize their talents a little ahead of their experience and some of those things. So it helps to get experience, and we believe in them, and they're going to keep coming.
Yeah, because I think most fans are kind of scratching their heads, right, when they watch FA and they watch Deshaun, thinking, we saw so much production from them towards the end of last season, but the injuries, then that's why. That explains it.
I think so. And Muhammad's cut into playing time a little bit too. He's just been, and part of it's like these guys are not in the same conditioning physically, and just the cardio a little bit. So it's like they haven't been able to get to that level where they were last year. And there's a little bit about being hungry in the first year, and it just kind of FA's health was really good last year. Deshaun missed the first chunk, just not getting cleared, and then he just kind of steadily progressed. And that's part of the sophomore, and they're on the scout, and they were playing with expectations. And by all the metrics, we're a better team right now. But we've lost some tight games, but still a better team, and played a tougher non-conference schedule than we did last year. We'll see. We're going to get tested. The league's good. I think there's still some team like Colorado was a really good team that we're going to play, but they were really gritty and old last year, and I think they were like number 8. They're number 8 in the country in the Ken Palm or whatever. And I'm pretty sure it's Ken Palm. They're like 8, but they're like top 20 team nationally, but on the AP. But I was like, that's and they didn't get any attention till the tournament.
Right.
They were just like, oh, they're good. They beat USC twice. Ho hum. I'm like, yeah. That's that guy Evan Mobley's pretty good, and SC is really good. So, and then what we did in the NCAA tournament with our league was really good. But I think we're better. I think some other teams improved, but some other teams aren't as experienced. I think Colorado's a really good program, really well coached. It'll be tough, but they're not. It's McKinley Wright's gone. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing for you and the rest of the Pac-12 coaches for sure.
Yes.
Hey, so despite some of these non-conference losses, and in particular the Boise State game, the Spokane Arena was rocking for that game. I mean, there was a great turnout, and that's got to be encouraging for me to show that Spokane it was willing to really turn out like that.
I can't tell you how disappointed it is in the result, because we definitely it was nice to see that, especially the Boise game, and it was crimson and gray too. It was filled up, and I know we've got a lot of people that are engaged in our basketball program up there, and it's nice in those opportunities to bring our program up there. And I just wish we would have played a little better and got that win and could have celebrated. But I think people are starting to, appreciate what we're doing, and they like, at least that's what they tell me. I get a few boos anywhere. I heard a few boos last game. I said, deserved. Someone was yelling. I said, whatever, you can boo me all you want, but I'm like, trust me, my inner voice is way more negative when we couldn't make a basket. So, but it was great to see him there.
And I want to ask you about Tyson Degenhardt, too, because I know you addressed it post-game. I believe he was already – this is a Mount Spokane kid. I believe he was already committed to Boise State before you even hired at WSU. He played AAU basketball with Leon Rice's son here in Spokane. But I coach soccer with his uncle, Randy, and he told me about going on the recruiting trip to Pullman and that they had a great time. And I know this is a kid and a family you would have loved to have had in Crimson and Gray.
Let me tell you how depressed I am about this. You almost had the story right. It was our first summer we got there, and he's a junior. He's going his junior year, and I think I saw him play for about 7 minutes, and Dan Dickow had told me about him maybe 18 months prior to when I was at San Francisco, because I think he worked him out, and he says, hey, there's this kid, I know you like these skillful guys in San Francisco. He's like, hey, put him on your radar. So I knew about him, and I barely got a chance to see him play that summer. And I don't know how it worked out because there's that new schedule. I forgot how it worked out. And he's only going to be a junior. And usually it's not girls soccer. That's when those sports, volleyball, they commit going their junior year.
Yeah.
And he came down on his unofficial, and just apparently it was pretty normal going to junior year, and said, hey, gave him the pitch, and and I think he showed me he had like a Coug logo on his backboard at home, and he's in Spokane. I'm like, hey, it's really good. I said, I can't wait to go out and watch in the fall. And in the season, and he committed to Boise about 2 days later. So I was like, oops. And and then he had a really good junior year, and just said, watch it. And then I think he was state player of the year senior year. So it's a good fit for them. Coach Rice, he's a Coug, and they got a good one there. And I think if it's now, I think we'd be a little more on top of it. We're still filling our roster. We were in the class of 20, and he was a 22 or whatever. So we were still we were still signing guys in August up there. Probably when he came on as unofficial, we were probably still signing guys for that class. Those sting when they're there, and I like the fact you try to let me off the hook like I had nothing to do with it, but he did, and kudos to him. And he's kind of really made them a big jump. They were supposed to be pretty good this year, and he's kind of really the piece that they need to go around. They're really for what he's doing as a freshman, really good too. So that we tried everything on the scout to say, hey, this guy, and we did a good job on him, but he's made so many little hustle plays and stuff like that to make you win. And he hit the big three. We kind of screwed up the switch and knocked it down, and that's what it takes to win games. We had some opportunities, we missed shots, and then he made that one, and it was a tight game, and that's where we got to flip that script and make our own luck.
All right, we got to take another timeout. If you at home have a question for Coach Smith, the best way to do it is to just tweet at me directly. My handle on Twitter is @DerekKXOY. That's DEREKKXOY. Coach, we've already got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4 that have come in here already. So we'll get to some of those. We'll talk about the Pac-12 Conference, and then we'll look ahead to this road trip to Colorado and Utah when we return. This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show from Learfield.
One of Marvel's greatest and most complex characters is back. Rent Venom, Let There Be Carnage, starring Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson. Now available at Redbox. Eddie Brock, still struggling to coexist with Shapeshifter Venom, is in search of his next big story. He lands an exclusive interview with death row inmate Cletus Cassidy and becomes the host for Carnage, a menacing symbiote. Eddie and Venom must get past their contentious relationship and work together to defeat Carnage. Watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
Northern Quest, the game's not over when the clock runs out. You can play longer than anywhere else in town with the most slot titles and more payouts. Not to mention the lowest bets, the highest limits, and the most live table games around. Plus, with our all-new Turf Club Sportsbook, you can do way more than just watch your favorite teams. So come on out and make every day game day, only at Northern Quest.
You're listening to Cougar Basketball.
Two-handed skyscraper jam. Shot is up and in, and the foul.
On the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
It's a new season. Get ready for more men's and women's college sports excellence. Trophies will be awarded in June to schools who take the top spot in the 2021-22 Learfield Directors Cup. The premier award recognizes one winning institution in all competitive divisions. Follow your favorite team's progress as seasonal standings are announced at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at directorscup.org. The crowning achievement in college athletics.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show.
Lots of the bucket and a two-handed skyscraper jam.
Live from Zeppo's with Cougar head coach Kyle Smith, here's the voice of the Cougs, Matt Chazanow.
All right, welcome back to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show. I'm Derek Dice, joined via Zoom with Coach Kyle Smith there in Pullman. And before the break, we were asking people to give us some questions online at my Twitter handle, at DerekKXOY. I think you're going to like this one, Coach. I know you saw the Mark Atuaya video that he dropped. The new Cougar running back coach, right? This is a guy who is married to a legend, really, in the lead singer of the Jets from the 1980s pop group. Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
You did not know that.
I watched the video. Trust me, and I forwarded it to my staff, and I said, this guy's in. We're going to hang out with this guy.
Big-time musical family. So Nick Moore on Twitter, this is a guy I know from back in Ephrata, says, when's your coaching mix video coming out?
I'll get one going. I've got plenty of things. I got a lot of talent there. Don't get yourself twisted. We can do a little lip sync. I can do some Sinatra. That's my karaoke go-to, My Way or New York, New York. So
okay,
we'll get something going when appropriate.
I'm going to guess that Coach Phelps could help you out, too, if you want to, get into the rap department, being from New York City.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of New York game.
Hey, all right, here's another one from a guy on Twitter. Says, are there any players who don't get a ton of minutes in games right now that are still making big strides during practice?
We have a lot of them, actually. And the tricky part is, and like I said, our team is pretty balanced top to bottom, so there's some guys that aren't playing as much that really help us in practice. I mean, the last 2 days are, we're mixing, we're scrimmaging because we have a little opportunity to, and the games are tight and it's close. And Jefferson's guy's been in and out, and he had like a really good practice yesterday, and his quickness and athleticism could really help us, and he has helped us. And then, and Ryan Rapp, who's been, played a lot for us last year and helped us, and kind of, it's not like he's gotten worse. He just hadn't as many opportunities, so he's always, and we don't know. We probably need another perimeter guy that can step up there. And then Matt Wolfe has been a guy that has just been a stud, and didn't expect it. He came here as a grad transfer, and I knew him from that's how old he is. I think I recruited him when I was at Columbia. And, it's a long time ago. And he went to the Ivy League, and we were lucky to get him out here. And from day one, he has been an absolute beast on just his work ethic, his attitude, and comes from his prep school coach, really good culture. And he's now named himself the Moose. And I believe he gives it a little. When he gets a bucket, he gets the horns up there. So it's a great add to our program. But I don't think we hadn't named captains this year because it's a pretty high bar. And after Christmas break, we got the feedback from our team, and this is something I totally didn't anticipate, but our 2 grad transfers are named captain, and Mike Flowers and Matt Wolfe. And it's pretty much unanimous. There's a few other guys who just like they definitely have really impressed the guys that are in the program prior to, and they've impressed us, and they just really hard to do for any transfer. But both those guys have been they're really mature attitudes, and they've really helped the program. And I said, I was talking to our guys today. I said, big guys, you're going to miss it when Matt's gone, and there'll be he helped us against South Dakota State in a big moment, and
sure,
wish we could have got that one done. And he's just got to be ready to go, and he's just smart, tough guy, and it's really been a great add to this Pullman community. I wish we had him for another year. I'll try to keep him around some other way.
Yeah.
If we can.
Get him on staff, maybe. Hey, you mentioned Jefferson Coulibaly and Ryan Rapp. And, last season, I know you would have loved to have had a couple more ball handlers with Jefferson,
yes.
Losing the season to an injury before it even started. And now it's like you've got ball handlers galore, right? I mean, you've got Flowers, you got Tyrell Roberts, you got Jefferson, you got Rapp.
Yeah. We got Noah, so we've had – and unfortunately, Jefferson had another injury this summer too, so he's kind of been snake bit on that stuff, and it was an area we had to address. We had to get better ball handling, and we just got so thin last year, and we got some hit with COVID, and I mean I think that although we won, maybe I should look at that. We beat Stanford, and Rodman was playing the 2, or Andre was. You couldn't distinguish it, and we're playing zone, and Noah was the 1, so. It wasn't easy to function that way because we just didn't have the ball handling, but we made it happen. It was kind of unique, and I don't like to get in those situations where we're having to change the lineup, but unfortunately it's kind of in the same mode with this darn COVID.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we got a couple people on Twitter also asking about Tony Miller. Is he available, and what's the plan with him? Because, again, here's a guy that in the past has been able to contribute, and I guess partly due to just your depth now of bigs, right?
That, and then, unfortunately, Tony hurt his labrum again, and probably going to have to, I don't know, am I allowed to say these things? I mean, I don't even know. I never know what the HIPAA loss. But, no, he's going to have surgery on his shoulder again, so probably won't be – he's not going to be able to help. And exactly, like he's a guy that could get a bucket for us, and it's a great story. And more injuries hampered him than the depth. I mean, as far as he was really knocking on the door even this fall, and just with his experience, he's older and hurt it this summer, and then kept those labrums are tricky on the shoulder, and kept re-injuring it, and it was just couldn't do it much more. So that's unfortunate for him, and we'll bring him back for senior night and honor him for he's helped get this thing. We're getting better, we're getting closer, and he jumped in when it was there weren't many that wanted to come, and he wanted to come, and he helped us a lot.
All right. Hey, let's talk about the conference as a whole here real quick. And you mentioned earlier that the Pac-12 really showed out last year in the NCAA tournament and let everybody know, what kind of quality and depth there really was last season. It seems like so far we've got, USC, Arizona, UCLA. We know those 3 clubs are really, really good. And then you're kind of in that next group, right, Coach? I mean, that all these teams are going to be fighting for to be in that NCAA bubble.
Yeah, I think, and I think I would be lying if I didn't say those top 3 you mentioned have gotten off to good starts, and I think they've also got depth and talent, and they'll be challenging. But honestly, I think 4 through 12 is tough to sort out right now, to be honest. It's too early to figure it out, but I watched the Cal Arizona State game the other night and surprised me a little bit. I think Cal's definitely an improved team, and I didn't surprise you with Mark Fox just coaching us when he's at Nevada and watching at Georgia. He's going to build a program, and in Arizona State, who after we beat them, they go up into Oregon and beat Oregon at Oregon. They beat Creighton at Creighton, so they're more than capable, and Cal just kind of handled them pretty well. So it's like it's going to be one of those years. I think is who can stay healthy, who can still keep getting better, who has emerging talent. So it comes back to the same stuff. Like, can you have a great attitude? Can you handle some adversity? Can you keep working hard and punch through? And we're experiencing a little bit now, and our reward is to go in the mountain schools.
Yeah, if you could call it a reward.
Right?
No,
exactly. It's a tough road trip. So, but it's good to be playing. But it's going to be and I saw Oregon State, who had struggled, and I watched them against Utah, and they look great. And I'm like, this doggone it, Tinkle's going to do it again. I hope. Come on, man. But he's like, Alatish is good, and Kalu and Silva and Lucas. So I'm like, they got a good chunk of guys that made that long run, and then they kind of handled Utah pretty easily. So. Everyone's good. Everyone's well coached, and it's going to be tough.
The Beavers have to be the biggest head scratcher of them all, though, right? Being 3-10 at this point of the season after an Elite Eight run last year.
Yeah, and they really technically they could have got Thompson. If they should have been trying to talk Thompson and Reichel to come back because they had an extra year if they wanted it, and they could have made another deep run. But they scheduled up. And they brought in a lot of new guys, so that's not totally unexpected because you don't know how that's going to shake out. But usually about this time, league starts, teams are just your top 8, top 9s really start to form, and that's what I saw when I was watching. Their deal was their lead guard was a JUCO kid who seems like he's taken reins of the situation and look good. They look good against Utah, so. Everyone's going to be tough.
Yeah. In some ways, though, isn't their run last year kind of inspiring for the Cougar program? Because, right? I mean, it shows that you get hot at the right time, you can make something like that happen.
It's more than that. Yeah, getting hot at the right time. They also, we had a chance to sweep them last year, and I think that's, we watched how well they did, and that should give us confidence. But that second half of the league, they really did play well. I think they had some really good road wins, and they just kept it together, and they had a focus, and they had some good senior leadership, and they made it happen. And again, it's like there wasn't a big difference last year between us and them. So, and it was nice to see how good our league was. So I expect more of the same this year.
All right. Coming up after the break, we'll get to more of your questions on Twitter. They're kind of pouring in here, Coach. And then I promise
they're too much about basketball. Can we get some non-basketball? Oh, actually, my rap, when I get I can't compete with the running back coach. He's big time. I can't wait to meet that guy. Good hire, Dicker.
We'll work on some non-basketball questions here. And then
I'm much more comfortable with those, Derek.
We'll get to looking ahead to Colorado and Utah as well. Don't go away. This is Washington State basketball from Learfield.
Spokane International Airport is a proud sponsor of Washington State University Athletics. The airport connects Cougar fans and alums to 22 major centers throughout the West with over 50 daily departures to 22 nonstop destinations served by AHA, Alaska, Allegiant, American, Delta, Frontier, Southwest, and United Airlines. Real-time arrival and departure flight information is available at www.spokaneairports.net. Spokane International Airport, when it's time to fly.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
You're listening to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Coug fans! Can't decide what to do with your late-night weekends? Why not Cosmic Bowling? Every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Cosmic Bowling at Zeppo's. At a price designed with everyone in mind, we are your destination for music, disco lights, and of course, bowling. Can't join us on the weekends? Zeppo's is the place to be for all ages every day of the week. With bowling, food, and drink specials, we offer prices that won't break the budget. You can even reserve your lane in advance with online reservations at Zeppos.com. When looking for fun in Pullman, look no further than Zeppo's.
Which would you rather be? An armchair quarterback or an on the edge of your cushy leather seat chair quarterback? Turf Club Sportsbook is now open at Northern Quest with the most modern, luxurious, and exciting sports wagering experience around. So you can bet, watch, and win like never before. Right here in the heart of the action. Turf Club Sportsbook, the ultimate game changer. Now open at Northern Quest.
You're listening to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Deep three, way beyond the arc in Kansas.
With Coach Smith, here's Matt Chazanow.
All right, welcome back to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show. I'm Derek Dice, filling in for Matt Chazanow today. We're joined by Coach Smith over the magic of Zoom. I don't know how this stuff happens, but everybody uses it now, and it works, and we just don't even think about it. We just go with it, right, Coach?
Absolutely. I have no idea.
All right, you wanted some non-basketball questions. How about this?
Great.
Christmas dinner. Are you turkey guy or ham or something else?
Well, if you've seen my physique, I'm either. I'm either and all, but we're more of a ham family. There's still some ham that made some nice sandwiches with my Engelhofer's deli mustard. That was one of my gifts. Yeah, so those really true mustard fans, if we have any out there, I'm a big Engelhofer's guy. That's a shameless plug. I'm still waiting for Engelhofer's to come in with my NIL or some advertisement. But anyway,
we'll have to get you a big box sent to your house. All right, how about favorite side then?
Ooh, for Christmas or Thanksgiving? Well, Thanksgiving's a stuffing. That's non-negotiable that you do that. So, and then with sweet potatoes, we do a good sweet potatoes for the Christmas with the ham.
And then do you do like the marshmallows melted on top or no?
Yes, and my son Luke loves the marshmallows, and my wife just spoils our children to no end. So if Luke asks for marshmallows, there's like the regular sweet potatoes, right? And then there's Luke's, which have the nice brown marshmallows on there. So if I could have the charms of my son Luke Smith, maybe I could get those too. But I just kind of get it like, Oliver Twist, just kind of like, here's your sweet potatoes and try to find I have to go scrambling for some butter or something to doctor them up.
So Katie's a short order cook, like I feel like I am a lot of time, because my 10-year-old, he only eats like 6 things. So it's like I make one meal and then there's like another meal for Danny.
Yes, we've got Rocco doesn't eat anything or whatever he eats. The foods can't touch, so he's got some OCD stuff going on. Yeah, he got that deal. Finicky, never appreciative. No offense if he's listening. Bo's in between. He'll try some stuff, but he might throw some stuff at you still. And then Luke, he's my guy. He likes to eat. Nice. He'll try some things, so he's okay. So we got it all over the board.
All right, and I know you're a big football guy, so let's handicap the NFL playoffs here.
All right, now we're going.
Crazy. It's
now
so
we're talking.
Who are you liking? Who are you liking this year?
It's kind of a toss-up. I think we're going. The easy call would be Super Bowl III, Packers Chiefs. That seems like that would be possibility, but it seems kind of wide open as far as like the Chiefs have been. They had a nice little run, then they lost, and they're not quite what they were before. And then this Aaron Rodgers thing, they seem to be hard to beat, but they can't necessarily stop the run. And then this is another closet thing. My wife's a huge Niners fan, so I've had to endure some tough years and this and that.
Why is that? Growing up in Manson.
Yeah, jeez. So people, this is big stuff. I forgot. That's a huge reveal. So that because there's some tension in the neighborhood on this stuff because there's a lot of Seahawks fans, and her dad lives in Modesto, and so she'd split time over there. So somehow, probably because the Seahawks were not as good, she's kind of a front runner.
Sure.
She probably got in there during the Steve Young era, Montana stuff, and she's kind of but. To her credit, she's still an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. Now, she's a Sonic fan. So she's got some issues, but she stayed with them down in Oklahoma City. It's a weird deal.
I need to get your wife on the phone like right now.
Yeah,
that's not acceptable.
But this has been the Niners thing. So I'm the only Jimmy G fan alive. Period. The guy is 33-13 career, and all they want to do is get rid of him. And I'm like, and they sacrifice their franchise for him. So I want this guy, and he just can't stay healthy, and he may not be that talented. All they do is win. So the coach of me is like, why are you going to change your point guard when all he does is win? And they're like, you can't win a Super Bowl. He was a first down away from winning a Super Bowl. I'm like, high bar, man. They put a high bar out there. He lost to Mahomes, who had to rally in the fourth quarter. So the Niners, and they got to win. They got to beat the Rams on the road. So it's going to be really tough for them to. They need the Saints to lose, or the Saints to lose, so it's going to be tricky for them to get in there.
Packers Chiefs sounds pretty legit. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I root against the Patriots because John Anderzak he's from upstate New York, but you can imagine he's a Patriots fan. So we've got it on our board, Brady versus Belichick, because I'm big. I'm like, hey man, Belichick's a great coach, no doubt, but he had the best quarterback for 20 years. So we're keeping the record post. I think Brady's got a 6-game lead and a 1 Super Bowl lead for anyone that's keeping score at home. So, right. That's an easy root against because he's obnoxious. That's no problem. Don't have to worry about that. And then I've got a lot of Bills fans in my background too, and they're kind of you kind of root for them a little bit because they just kind of feel so bad for them.
Well, the fan base is almost like a Cougar fan base too, right?
Oh, very much so.
Rowdy and wild.
Oh, very much so. I went to school. That's what I said. Like I went to school in upstate New York, in Clinton, New York, was a little town.
Yeah.
And that if I picked you up and transported you, closed your eyes and put you in downtown Clinton, you open up and you're like, I'm still in Pullman. It looks it's about the same. So it's usually covered in snow about this time of year too. So the Bills fans are definitely, the Buffalo mentality's definitely got a little Pullman feel to it for sure.
All right, I'll throw in 2 more teams to keep an eye on.
All right.
One, I think the Titans are still going to have a say in this whole thing, especially if they get Derrick Henry back at some point here. And then I hate saying this because I'm a Seahawks guy, but I'm still thinking the Rams are going to figure it out at some point, even though they really haven't to this point.
What do you want to figure out? Stafford throws a lot of picks recently, so that's a little trouble. But 12-4, they're there. That's a good call.
Yeah, they'll be in the mix. Yeah, my wife's whole family is Packer fans too, so they're gonna like that you mentioned the Packers right off the bat.
They're pretty impressive. I mean, the Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers thing's kind of hard to stop.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's talk hoops again.
All right, back to hoops.
Let's talk about this Colorado team. And first of all, let's talk about going to Boulder because it hasn't been a good place for the Cougs traditionally. I think we're like 0-10 all time in Boulder. That's got to change.
Chasno obviously gave you some tips on what the questions asked. This is right out of his Chasno playbook, the 0-10. Yeah, no, it's definitely what's unique is that I coached there when I was assistant. I think St. Mary's almost 20 years ago, and there was no atmosphere. Very, it was then there was still a big football deal, but since Coach Boyle's been there, they've done a really nice job of having a nice home crowd. Their band is loud, and they got the altitude, and they got the thing, and they've got a really nice program, and they're going to make themselves. That's part of being good is developing that edge for home court, and for us, I've been kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I've been trying to go, the winter's coming. And this year I get to say winter's here. We're all in. It's here. Keep Beasley cold. That might be this year. The heat's rarely on in there, and I'm like, keep it off. Keep it off. When your coaches are in the parkas in practice. So, but that's what they have going on there, and it's made it a tough place to play. And if you can win the more than your fair share at home, you have a chance to have a good program.
Yeah, and let's talk about their bigs, too, real quick. It seems like Evan Batty's been around there for a long time, right? I mean, he's a hefty guy at handling the post. And then Samaki Walker's kid, Jabari, has really taken a step here from his freshman to sophomore year.
Yeah, it's definitely strengthened their program. Batty's senior leadership, he is a heart and soul. Really smart player. I want to know, he talks about his girth and his, and he's physical, but he's also really cerebral, good passer. Good leader, almost not the same athlete, same player, but kind of he's got a really good talk out there, like almost like a Draymond Green. Like he's just really vocal, really animated. Their fans really feed off of him. And then Jabari was kind of a late signing the last year, and he's just blossomed. Even though it's Samaki Walker's son, you'd think people would have saw that, but he's kind of a late bloomer a little bit, and sometimes those pro sons are. And he hasn't shot the ball well from three, but he looks more athletic, more aggressive, and he's gone from where they were so old and had a lot of shooting around him. He only played about 16, 17 minutes a game. And now he's taking the mantle of being kind of their lead guy offensively. And he's been really impressive there. He hadn't shot as well, but he's just on the glass. His athleticism showing up. So they're going to be a handful.
Yeah, 13 points and 8 rebounds a game so far there for Jabari Walker, leading the way in both categories for the Colorado Buffaloes. All right, we got to take another timeout. Okay. When we come back after the break, we'll talk a little bit about Utah, which is a game on Saturday. And I also want to ask you, Coach, about Klay Thompson getting ready to return to the court for the Golden State Warriors. We'll get to all that when we return. This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show from Learfield.
One of Marvel's greatest and most complex characters is back. Rent Venom, Let There Be Carnage, starring Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson. Now available at Redbox. Eddie Brock, still struggling to coexist with shapeshifter Venom, is in search of his next big story. He lands an exclusive interview with death row inmate Cletus Cassidy and becomes the host for Carnage, a menacing symbiote. Eddie and Venom must get past their contentious relationship and work together to defeat Carnage. Watch Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and make it a Redbox night. Visit Redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
When you set up a savings goal with U.S. Bank, it grows with you. There's no limit to what you can crochet. Can do. Doesn't have to be crocheting, but it totally could be. Like the headphones you're listening to this ad with, you could totally crochet those. There's no telling where your savings goal will take you. Maybe you'll save enough for yarn to crochet your house or the whole town. Oh, right. Doesn't have to be crochet related.
Set up savings goals on the U.S. Bank mobile app, even for the wildest of dreams. U.S. Bank. We'll get there together. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Your home for Cougar basketball.
Deep three bucket. Rise and a crush.
The Washington State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Coug fans! Can't decide what to do with your late-night weekends? Why not Cosmic Bowling? Every Friday and Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Cosmic Bowling at Zeppo's. At a price designed with everyone in mind, we are your destination for music, disco lights, and of course, bowling. Can't join us on the weekends? Zeppo's is the place to be for all ages every day of the week. With bowling, food, and drink specials, we offer prices that won't break the budget. You can even reserve your lane in advance with online reservations at Zeppos.com. When looking for fun in Pullman, look no further than Zeppo's.
Woo! Got my nachos, got my big TV, and my favorite chair. It's game time. But the only thing that would make it a little better is if I could listen to my local broadcasters while watching the game.
Oh, hello. You must have wished for your game to be synced with TV and radio.
I sure did.
Do you have a DVR?
You bet.
Do you have a streaming device?
Yeah.
Blammo! Your game is now synced. It's that easy.
Oh, boy.
To see if you can get synced, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield.
Syncmygame.com?
Syncmygame.com.
Have a question for Coach Smith? Send a tweet with your thoughts to Matt Chazanow using the handle @M_Chaz. That's M_CHAZ. Now, back to Zeppos.
Try to get to at least one or two more of those questions over Twitter in our remaining two segments here if we can. But first, let's talk about Utah. That's the Game 2 of this road trip coming up on Saturday afternoon. And, Coach, unfortunately, Salt Lake City is also a really tough place to play for the Cougs. A 13-game losing streak there to the Cougs. And it says...
It's time to break through, man. It's time to break through.
Yeah, let's just let's knock both of them out this weekend.
Yeah, it's one at a time.
Get the monkey off the back.
Yeah, one at a time, Derry. We'll see, but they've got even a better tradition going back. They've just had a good basketball program forever, and some of the same advantages, being at altitude and a pretty rabid fan base. Almost a little spoiled. They kind of left them there a little while. They're starting to come back and they're getting better. So, new coach, great last name. Don't know him very well, and a great haircut too.
Yeah,
similar to the Dice. Similar to the Dice. It'll be it requires more work when you have a new coach because most coaches carry over most what they do from year to year, and it's part of the program. So. Have to do a little deeper dive on how they play, but they're a good program. They're big. They run you off the three, and got a really good center. So our bigs tested again with Brandon Carlson, who can go inside and out. Good rim protector and make threes. So he's kind of your modern day big fella. So we'll have our hands full. Tough weekend.
Yeah. Carlson, again, like you said, a 7-footer averaging 13.6 points, 6.3 rebounds, and just over 2 blocks a game. So, yeah, he's a handful.
No. You could see that coming. I think he was a freshman my first year here, and he really, I think he was player of the game at their place, and was a pretty good game for most game. And he just kind of, it was like, oh, no, It's like in one of those freshman moments where I think he blocked about 5 shots. He made some big plays. He played with emotion, and you could see him. You could see the future ahead of him, and he's kind of living up to that promise and getting better and better.
And you mentioned running off the 3-point line. Opponents only shooting 28% from 3 against the Utes there so far this year. All right, I told you I wanted to ask you about Klay Thompson. It sounds like he's going to be returning to the floor on Sunday for the Warriors. First time in almost 2 years after these couple of injuries that he's had. That's great for a former Coug to finally be getting back out there.
Amen. I mean, it's a pretty unique situation. How he's kept his mental toughness in this work that you've seen, if you followed him at all, how much he's had to put in, going through an ACL and an Achilles.
Yeah.
Just wish him all the best, and hopefully doesn't have too high expectations, and he'll get the most out of what he has. And then to be able to go in the situation where the Warriors are like the best team in the NBA, pretty special deal. And then adding a guy like that really fits the culture, and it's coming from the Bay Area and just how beloved he is there, as well as is here. It's pretty neat, pretty special for him.
Yeah, we all wish him the best, no doubt. We got to take one more time out. When we return, we're going to get to as many of your questions as we can before we run out of time. This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show from Learfield.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Spokane International Airport is a proud sponsor of Washington State University Athletics. The airport connects Cougar fans and alums to 22 nonstop destinations provided by 8 major airlines. Nonstop service is available to Atlanta, Boise, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Everett, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Oakland, Orange County, Phoenix, Phoenix Mesa, Portland, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, and Seattle. And starting December 15th, Reno. For real-time flight arrival and departure information, go to SpokaneAirports.net.
This is Cougar Basketball from Learfield.
It's a new season. Get ready for more men's and women's college sports excellence. Trophies will be awarded in June to schools who take the top spot in the 2021-22 Learfield Directors Cup. The premier award recognizes one winning institution in all competitive divisions. Follow your favorite team's progress as seasonal standings are announced at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at directorscup.org. The crowning achievement in college athletics.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Welcome back to the show. Time now to look ahead at this week's game with the Coors Light Opponent Preview. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill.
All right, we told you the Cougs are at Colorado and at Utah this week. It's Thursday at 6 at Colorado and Saturday at 3 against the Utes. All right, here's a question from Jennifer Delzer. She's a loyal Coug on Twitter. Loves watching DJ Rodman rebound. Sometimes he starts outside the three-point line and still ends up with the ball. She says, how do you think he's developed that skill? I've got a pretty good idea, but I'll have you answer.
He's got a gift, and it might have the DNA might have been handed down since his dad's probably the best rebounder in the modern era since Wilt Chamberlain. So it's kind of in there, and he's got a good sense, but he does it anyway. He's pretty good.
Okay, here's one more on Twitter. This has got to be quick, Coach. What's your plan for recruiting in-state talent?
Identify, and then who would want to be a Coug? That's the plan. Let's try to bring him in here. Evaluate him and bring him in. Let's go.
All right. right, there you go. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on the first U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show of the season. I'm happy to be going with you guys to Boulder and Salt Lake City to call the games on Thursday and Saturday, so we hope that you all will join us on the radio as well. Again, that game in Boulder Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Saturday at Utah at 3 p.m. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great night, and as always, go Cougs.